Frankenstein Ultimate Action Figure and Frankenstein's Monster with Chair, each sold separately, new from NECA.
Okay, how about we go with this? It's the weekend, unless you're on Patreon. It's Friday, but it still works. I'm Robo. This here's the Rewind. This week, Yolopark announced that the matrix that comes with their Transformers AMK Pro Series Generation 1 Optimus Prime is detachable. It is removable. You know, just in case it wasn't painfully obvious from the original promo picture showing Prime holding it out away from his body, lighting some kind of darkest hour. But hey, it's an announcement. It's news. It puts to rest any debates that may have been going on in the dark recesses of the internet. Plus, it keeps this running gag going, because it's not anywhere near being run into the ground. Nowhere near. But it does beautifully segue into more Threezero MDLX Transformers. Notice I didn't say new, because the vintage animation editions of Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, and Megatron may have new decos, but they're still reuse of the existing figures. But that's not a terrible thing. As we always talk about, this is just a way for companies to get more use out of existing molds, to get money, to get funds for newer stuff down the road. Plus, it gives everyone a chance to get what they want. Maybe you didn't like the Threezero take on the paint jobs, or the vintage toy feel. Here you go. Now they're jumping into the cartoon realm. Out of the three, Bumblebee, I think, has the least amount of appearances. There's the original, there's a gold edition, like a gold bug of some kind, and then there is the Bumblebee Red edition. Okay, it's Cliff Jumper, but it's still reuse, right? Can we agree on that? Now it's repainted in brighter yellows. Again, like the cartoon. And that's the theme of these. Like I said, vintage animation editions. So it's the same for Optimus Prime. Oh, and the addition of cell shading to the glass parts. That's pretty sweet. That sets them apart from the previous versions a little bit. Prime's had more releases though, and I've got to read it because there's a couple. There was the original, then Nemesis Prime, followed by Ultra Magnus and Shattered Glass. That was back to back. And then finally the Year of the Dragon Gold Edition. While I do dig the new animation editions of Bumblebee and Optimus Prime, I think I'm sticking with the original versions that I already have, because they're beautiful. They work exactly how I want them to in my display. Megatron, though, is a different story. I didn't get the original because I didn't care for the chest piece, the direction they went design-wise there. They went almost car-like, with angles and peckiness and sticking out and such. In my brain, Megatron should have a flat plane there, or at least a flatter plane. He shouldn't be so chesty. But then the comic book edition came along and they changed that slightly. Yes, it still has some shape to it, but it's flatter than the original release. It's smoother, I guess you could say, but not smooth. Smoother. I was tempted, but I ultimately passed. That goes double for the G2 Megatron that they announced next after the comic book version. It does nothing for me because I wasn't around for G2. The greens and the purples are interesting because of villain colors, but beyond that, it's just a neat looking Megatron that I didn't need. It was odd that they used the flatter chest from the comic book version for a Megatron that transforms into a vehicle. I would have liked to seen that more bulky and but now, the vintage animation edition Megatron puts him back in the colors that I oh so love while using that new smoother upper torso piece. So, it's win-win, except for one teeny tiny detail. If this is supposed to be animation, why did they go with the curly squiggles on the side of the Decepticon logo like the vintage toy? Everything else is vintage animation through the Threezero lens, but that isn't. This could have been a completely different release. Tweak some of the colors, give that, hey, vintage toy edition. So, it doesn't bug me too much because I like that little detail, but I don't... There's always something questionable with every single release, I think. Either way, I could just be screaming into the ether because these are limited to 100 each, first sold at TFCon in LA in March. And then limited quantities go to select distribution partners. So that's sounding a whole lot like I won't even get a chance at these, so does it matter? Hey, remember last week when I was talking about the Four Horsemen 2024 Retailer Appreciation Wave? How at the time it was just Sun Wukong and that they would probably be announcing more before the pre-orders go up on March 1st? Well, that happened a lot quicker than I thought. In fact, by the time the Rewind posted to YouTube on Saturday, it was already behind. There were already more figures. And then they spent the rest of the weekend just putting them all out. It's all right though. I do not mind coming back around and talking about the new deco on their Ghost of Jacob Marley figure. Like I always say, I don't collect Legions or Figura Obscura or anything Four Horsemen really, at all. But I like looking. I like admiring, I like appreciating from afar. With the first version of Jacob Marley, I dug the light ghostly blue and the translucency. Here, with the darker colors, more saturated, it brings out a lot more of the sculpted details. I think I like this one better. It just pops, doesn't it? Especially against a dark background. Other than the colors, it seems to be the same as the first release, accessory-wise, extras, everything else. And I think I can say the same about the repainted Mask of the Red Death. Same as the first, just reverse colors, except for the mask, because it's Mask of the Red Death. Although now that I say that, it's not saying the mask is red, it's just saying it's the Red Death with a mask. So it would have been interesting seeing this mask in black with the red chin sticking out, but at the same time, the consistency's cool. Like, it's almost the same mask and it just passes from Red Death to Red Death. No, I don't know anything about Mask of the Red Death. Next, I absolutely cannot keep up with Mythic Legions. There's been too much. It's like I need a college history course to go back through all the Mythic Legion's base bodies and parts. So I don't quite know what the deal is with the Undead of Vikenfell, but I can say that it does look like a kick-ass army builder. This last one may take my Four Horsemen virginity though. Okay, that's a bit extreme. I do have a couple of their releases, but they've all been given to me, or I've just kind of fallen into them. It's always been over the pants type stuff. This may, okay, let's stop with that. Because this, oh man, ooh. It's not because I collect Cosmic Legions, y'all know better, but there is still a huge nostalgia tug here. I had two Fisher-Price Adventure People sets when I was a kid. There was the two guys in orange jumpsuits with the motorcycle and sidecar, and then there was the spaceship that came with the alien astronaut. Look at this for a minute. Now look at this. Does it seem familiar? I'm feeling so targeted lately. Like this was made specifically for me. Every now and then you feel fate intervene, like Toy Destiny. It just... Fisher Rice, and yes, that's his name, but you spell it out and it's definitely the Four Horsemen. Let's throw some extra letters and an apostrophe here and there. Fisher Rice, it's right up my alley. I don't care who I have to fight, I will get this pre-ordered. If you get to that button before I do and you hear, no way, here I go, wait for, that's me running up behind you, just, no, me first, click. What I'm trying to say here is, I think I like this, and I think I will buy it. I seem to have missed the announcement for Super 7 Silverhawks. Oh, we doing? Yeah, of course. Gotta keep it going, right? Ultimate! Wave 5 Copper Kid and Speed Racer last week. I think it popped up while I was out of town one weekend, and I saw it and thought, okay, I'm gonna have to talk about this during the next rewind. Can I get extra chili on those fries? And a dessert menu. Thank you. Phone went in the pocket and then forgot all about it. But here we are, swinging back around, and Copper Kid looks pretty good, all coppery and kid-like. And then there's the Speed Racer. Speedy. And races. It races all around. Okay, no, I don't know a damn thing about Silverhawks. In fact, I still believe that the show and the toys never existed at all. I've got a running theory that it was a mass hallucination that only affected certain parts of the country, because I never saw Silverhawks. Toys, show, nothing. And I say that having watched Tiger Sharks. So you're trying to tell me that I remember Thundercats and I remember Tiger Sharks, but not Silverhawks. Come on now. Nope, I refuse to believe that. It's easier to spread the truth, and I have the truth. And that truth is Silverhawks was a conspiracy. They were a figment of y'all's imagination. Think about it. Characters based on alloys, that was DC's Metal Men. And that vehicle is obviously a Masters of the Universe Road Ripper, or Ground Ripper, or whatever the government and Big Toy want us to believe at this point. Bird motifs in space? That's Battle of the Planets, or G-Force, or whatever it was called. Bringing law and order to the universe? Have you ever heard of Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers? No guts, no glory. Wake up, people! You are pawns in a web of evil! But if you've collected all the rest of Super 7 Silverhawks Ultimate so far, then here you go. There's Copper Kid in the Speed Racer. Speed Racer, there's another thing! This isn't Speed Racer! This is Speed Racer. Copper Kid. If that's your real name. Speaking of Masters of the Universe, here are actual prototypes for the cartoon collection Merman and Stratos. So good. Looking like vintage toys based on an animation series from the 80s that we know actually existed. I don't know how long I'm going to keep this running. As long as possible, I guess. I said this during my review of He-Man, Skeletor, Beastman, and Man-at-Arms. I think the Club Grayskull versions do a better job of conveying their looks from the animated series, but at this point, those are old and expensive. Plus, those are more display type pieces. They go onto the shelf looking all badass. The cartoon collection releases are new. They're cheap. They're easy to get. They're for play. They're for posing. They're for throwing. They're for swapping. They put the fun in filmation. That's it, really. Both lines do a great job of doing what they do best. No pre-orders for these just yet. In fact, I think these are leaked pictures. I don't know where they came from. But hopefully, we'll see more soon. Something official, something pre-ordery, because I need these. This week, Frazetta Icon Collectibles, well, I was gonna say teased, but that's the wrong term. They partially revealed their Fire and Ice Tigra. At this point, we all know Dark Wolf is amazing, and this looks like more of the same. And get it out of your system. Oh, is it cold in there? Yeah, whatever. That's the design. The action figure is based on artwork and animation. It's what it's supposed to look like. If the nipples weren't there, everybody'd be griping about their omission. Where's the nipple? It's accurate. So, I'd rather have them than not have them. That's more nipple talk than I ever thought I'd get into. What's crazy is that the Panther is included, along with what they say is extra accessories. I thought that was going to be more dramatic. In my brain, it was like loads and loads, but extra accessories. So I'm wondering what the price point is going to be here. Is that all to balance the Dark Wolf release and it's going to be about the same, or is this a deluxe type situation? Which is cool. If that Panther's neato burrito, then yeah, I'll pay the price. But, well, I can't say much until we actually find out, huh? We're waiting, we're seeing, and then we will judge accordingly. Like we always do, right? We're action figure collectors. We never jump the gun and just, wait, have we actually seen the bottom half? Doesn't matter, trash, blah, blah. I am so hard up for Star Wars news that we're going third party with the Good Toys The Chosen One. That's okay though, it's a fine looking Anakin. Well, okay, the likeness isn't quite there. And then this bulkier robe overlay is not great. But otherwise, you get down to the Jedi robes and some mood lighting, it's a pretty good looking Anakin. Or at least I think so in some of these pictures. This one with the hand is like, wait, who's that in Anakin's robes? But like I said, you get some shadow, you get some ambiance, then it looks like Anakin. Is this the first figure of this character from this, I'm going very specific here, this version of Anakin to come with a swappable robot hand in this scale? Let's narrow it even more. In 1/12 scale. And I may even be wrong there, but I don't remember any of them coming with the robot hand. On top of that, there's two lightsabers with different blades, the standard blade and then the new swiping, swinging effects that a lot of the imports have been coming with lately. Then of course, hands. Quality-wise, it seems to be the same company that made the third-party Darth Maul called Black Warrior. I know that was Play 112 and this is Good Toys, but that logo ain't fooling anybody. I know you gotta stay on the move in the third-party market, especially when it comes to Star Wars. They'll come and get you. So Yeah. But you didn't even change the design. You didn't even take 12 out from under good toys. Saying that, I've heard good things about that Darth Maul, all except for the ankles. Seems there's a big rubber boot that goes over it, and it hinders the movement there. I fear that Anakin is suffering that same fate, and I hate to see it. In fact, it angers me. Bonus points. But yeah, if you're in the market for a soft goods Anakin Skywalker, this may be the way to go. It's feeling a lot like Toy Fair the past couple of weeks, isn't it, with all these companies doing reveals? And why wouldn't it? It's that time of year where Toy Fair should be happening, but no, they had to go for a fall Toy Fair. It seems toy companies are still in that mindset of February, we gotta push. Here. McFarlane Toys is no different with their DC Multiverse line, giving us little sneak peeks of things that's going up for pre-order next week, like Batman Armor Azrael. My first thought was, didn't we already get this? But no. My brain was mashing together all those White Knight variants, and then the previous Batman Armor Azrael that was more Batman-like, with the cape and the cowl look. This uses the same body as that with new overlays. New chest going up into the segmented, spiky, hard cape, new head. I was gonna say new gauntlets, but I think it's the original gauntlets with a new piece on top, clipped on somewhere with the hose coming up. So, and in red instead of blue. Then came first appearance Batman, and I know it's another Batman, but I'm tempted by this because I'm a complete sucker for that original look with the lavender gloves and everything. Plus wired cape. I gotta support that because so much better than plastic capes. You get so many more poses. It seems to be on the Hush body with maybe the Green Lantern Batman chest piece because it's clean. They can just paint a logo on there. And in my head, I feel like that's big and bulky for first appearance. I would have preferred to see the Nightfall body. It's leaner, it's meaner, but they're using that for a black and gray repaint of Nightfall Batman. Why? Because they can. And I feel like they're contractually obligated to make every Batman produced in both color schemes, blue and gray and black and gray. And I'm not talking about McFarlane Toys specifically, I'm talking about all the companies with DC licensing. I'm just saying, it looks good in black and gray. If you don't need it, pass on by. But if you like it, go with it. You can do whatever you want. You can have a black and gray Batman, and you can have a blue and gray Batman, and put them on separate ends or something. If you like the figure, grab it. Who cares what everyone else says? Finally, at least as far as I've seen before stepping in front of the camera early Friday morning, there's also the Walmart exclusive gold label DC vs. Vampires Nightwing. I say this every time one of these figures pops up, but man, the vampires kicked the shit out of the DC heroes, didn't they? While we're on the subject of pictures and pre-orders and time, as I'm recording this, I've only seen this teaser for the McFarlane Toys Spawn Todd McFarlane and Spawn 2-pack. Has it already been 30 years? Damn. I think this is pretty much what you see is what you get. It looks like Todd in a baseball hat, and then Spawn. Maybe an early, maybe a smooth Spawn of some kind? Different sculpt, different look or something? Has this already been talked about and I forgot or something? Because it seems like they were talking about Todd figure at some point. But I haven't kept track. And this is gonna be awkward because pre-orders are going up later today. So by the time you watch this segment of me going, I wonder what this looks like, it's already been up and everybody knows what the deal is, and you're screaming at the monitor going, do some research. But I can't, I'm in the past, talking to you in the future. Hey, how are things? How's the weather going? Have we colonized space yet? Has anybody solved the mystery of the mass hysteria that people call Silverhawks? I told you I'd keep it running. Something I do have more information for is this week's Hasbro Marvel Legends reveals from their fan stream. I went over most of this in the fast forward from Tuesday, so let's do it today even faster. If you want to see more of the initial thoughts and rundown of that stream, because I'm not going to talk about the things we already knew about here that just had some updates. If you want to watch all that, clicky over on that thing. Hopefully I remember to stick it up there. For new things, there's the Spider-Man Animated Series 2-pack of Morbius and Doctor Strange. I should wear a shirt at this point that says, or have a disclaimer under every video, hey, I don't collect Mythic Legions, and I don't know 90s cartoons. This is cool looking, and I know people have been wanting it, just not my thing. I do like this retro carded Prowler though. The brighter colors and the unmasked head may replace the one I have on the shelf. Of course, that's a fake kind of thing because it is Walmart exclusive, so it could be, oh, missed it. Kick me in the crotch. Target gets a retro carded Carnage. This is reuse of the Absolute Carnage figure that was released back in the Venom Pool wave. I'm not going to give a date because I didn't look at that before I walked in here, and we all know how that goes. Stay tuned. We'll get to that in a minute. But it does have a new head and then weapon attachments for the arms. Next, to accompany Valeria and Franklin, there's a 2-pack of Spider-Man and Wolverine in Fantastic Four uniforms. I didn't know this was a thing. Okay, that was an accident. I didn't do that on purpose. But I like seeing Spider-Man and Wolverine in oddball colors. We get so many that it's okay. This is a release unto itself. It's out there for those who want it. Me, I'm just looking thinking, oh, that's neat. I probably won't buy it, but it's neat. Amazon is getting a 2-pack of Arnim Zola and Baron Zemo, and here's where the date thing comes into play. In the fast forward, I said that the Arnim Zola Build-A-Figure was originally released in 2016. Wrong. It was 2012. Man, at this point, anything before 2020 is ancient times. It just all kind of runs together. So I think back. Because 2012 was the return of Marvel Legends, right? The card with the blisters. And I don't think I have any other figures from that era on the shelf, but I still have that Arnim Zola. You like this quick rundown? No, I'm not going to ramble. Except when I ramble. But I'd like to point out that Arnim Zola is as old as the Bucket Cap body, if that puts things into perspective. Then for Baron Zemo, I got some comments of, but we got a Baron Zemo at Walgreens. Nope, that's Helmut. This is Heinrich, his father. I don't know why you're trying to... Oh, I think I did say that we haven't gotten... Well, did I say we haven't gotten this Baron Zemo since the Toy Biz days? Never mind. I think I did say this Baron Zemo, but if I didn't, I apologize. We have gotten a Baron Zemo since then. Or two. Oh no! Go to the comment section and tell me how many Baron Zemos we've gotten. And just to be clear, it does come with the stylish fur collar. It just wasn't available for the single shots, but it is in the package shot. So there you go. Also, thanks to everyone who explained that this is the Nick Fury I was thinking it was. They said Junior during the live stream, so I thought, well, there was Nick Fury, and then Junior, but this is Junior to this Nick Fury, apparently. But he's coming in a 3-pack with Sharon Carter and Dum Dum Dugan. I like the upgraded Carter, and I never got an appropriate body for the Dum Dum Dugan head that came with another release. So this totally works. If I need more shield, then... Then, like I said, it feels like Toy Fair season because the boys dropped a whole wave of Marvel Legends next. We've been seeing Red Widow for a little while. She won a vote of some kind, then digital, and then prototype, and then she finds her home in this wave. Icarus is a total surprise. It's one of those classic characters that we thought may never come along because of the movie figure and the movie itself, but no! Look at all this Kirby goodness! Black Winter is reuse of the previous Thor, the Herald of Galactus Thor, I think it was. Looking at it from the surface, since I have no attachment to that version of Thor, I kind of like it better in the blacks and the blues and the translucent parts. Superior Iron Man? Not so much. To me, it's just... Here's Iron Man in white. I'm over here just thinking, I'm glad it doesn't come with a Build-A-Figure piece. Wolfsbane wins me back though. She is from my least favorite version of X Factor. I know there was only so many. For me, it's the original 5. But it's still Wolfsbane. It's a unique X person for my shelf. That's all I need to hear. Not to mention the reuse and customizing possibilities. I'm gonna need a couple of these. Cable was a surprise, but not a surprise because of the animated series coming, and it's Cable. You go back to the 90s and Cable was everywhere. Plus, it's a different look. You know, we have bulky Cable, we have X-Force Cable, now we have X-Men Cable. I'm good with that. But then they hit me with Kazar, and oh man, this takes me right back to X-Men Adventures in the Savage Land. I know Kazar has had other appearances, but for me, he's X-related. This gives me the perfect excuse to pick up some of those dinosaurs that I've been seeing in the toy aisles lately. Well, lately, for a long time, but I always walk by and think, I can't say your name, but you're a kick-ass looking dinosaur. I'd like to find a place for you. now I have a place. Getting a Kazar makes you want, yeah, a Shayna the She-Devil, but also, yep, Zabu. And they announced that is the Build-A-Figure for this wave. And I did say it, this could have been a 2-pack. Kazar and Zabu, just like other animal releases from Hasbro's other lines, where the character came with a bigger animal. But at the same time, this is Marvel Legends. It's marketing. It's what they've been doing for 15 years or so, somewhere around there. Again, time's funky once you go back a couple years. Yeah, themes are good. It sells to people who want that theme, but this is kind of a throwback, and especially with no media tie-ins this year, it's a comic wave, so they're just picking from different eras, and that may not appeal to everybody, but for me, I was already in for most of the wave anyway. If it's just one, then I'm doing good, but that's me. I can only speak for myself. But that may be the reason that this is fan channel. This is not going to Target. This is not going to Walmart, because the fear of peg warming. And if it's not going to actual physical pegs, can you call it a peg warmer? Yeah, you can, but still, this is my wave. This is for me. Again, Toy Destiny! Finally, as they usually do with their live streams, there was a tease of this bladed weapon. Since we had just seen Kazar and Zabu, I thought, oh, Shayna, but it's too big. Then I went with Kraven, but again, you kind of figure, no, it's too big for him too. So I'm agreeing with the online majority saying that it's for Scar. Especially after Jake Kiss in the comments section pointed out that it's very similar to the knife on the cover of Scar issue number 11. It's not perfect. In fact, let's take this, pop it out, compare it side by side, and then, okay, the tooth, the claw guard is the wrong way. So let's flip that around and then reshape the pommel a bit, overlay it. It's a pretty good match, especially with that chip out of the back of the blade. On the cover, the handle is a lot thinner. When you make something like that into toy form, you got to make it sturdy, and it's got to fit in a big hand. So I can see why they made the handle bigger, if this is Scar's blade. Finally, as we've seen over the past few weeks, LooseCollector has been slow roasting the reveals for the Rob Liefeld Extreme Universe line, really just giving us tiny morsels on a weekly basis. Now this week, I've got even more goodies. The packages feature all the 90s art your heart can handle and shows that they'll be deluxe types because of the accessories. Even better though, here are the digital renders of the figures and everything they come with. Holy moly, you're gonna need pouches yourself just to carry all this stuff. Each have 2 heads, 2 main weapons, 1 blade with sheath, 5 sets of hands, and then a big ass gun each. Oh, and then Cabot has an extra pistol because there is just not enough firepower going on. And amazingly enough, none of the weapons are shared. It's all unique sculpting. Last week I hypothesized that some of the body parts may be reused, maybe the torso because they're so covered with overlays, and then the upper legs. But there's so much individual sculpt going on, overlays, pouches, straps, that it's hard to even tell. It's Cabot and it's Bloodwolf. That's what it comes down to. Pre-orders go up this weekend, where we'll see more of the prototypes, pretty pictures, price points, stuff like that. In fact, they may already be up by the time you're watching this. So here I am just, hey, look at this! And there's even more out there. Time, you know, that's how it works. And that's all I have for this week. Yeah, I do realize there's other stuff going on, but it's just starting. So I'm not gonna get into half of it. We'll talk about all of the Mezco stuff next week. And yeah, I know there was a Bartholomew Vex, but it's already in waitlist, so it doesn't. Hey, look at the pictures. Too bad, sorry, you can't have it. So again, we'll swing back around next week. It's weird that a week or two back I was talking about how it was mostly things we had already seen, just with more information. Now, it's quickly flipped to a lot of stuff we haven't seen with not a lot of information. At least not as I'm shooting this. That's the Toy Fair spirit. Ooh. I did talk a lot today about the comment section because it was just fast and furious over the past few days. And with the Hasbro Marvel Legends reveals, some people pointed out that, ooh, Kazar may be a good base for a He-Man figure, and then Red Widow could be Shadow Weaver. So between that and Hasbro making a pretty damn good Wonder Woman recently, the customizing just that'll get me to buy several of one figure just because of the fun of that. Special thanks to the Patreon. This week we've been looking at various head swaps for the Metacom Mafex Hush Joker. Because you know what the Hush Joker looks like. It's got that very Jim Lee style to it. And while it fits with the rest of that, I kind of wanted to see what else could be out there. It's expensive fodder, but I like getting what I want, you know, what I need on the shelf. So if that involves a head swap or two, then so be it. So I've been running that past them, and I am recording on Friday this week. It's going to be the same schedule next week, but the week after that, I'm heading to another Comic-Con, so I'll be recording on Wednesday. It'll still go on Patreon on Friday and then YouTube on Saturday, just like always, but I'm going to be behind. Saying that, while I'm on the road, I try to do something there. It's not quite daily basis, but I try to throw tidbits up. So maybe a picture of my spinny booth back there, or something that I've done, just quick change or something. So in 2 weeks, I'll be away from the office. You know, the Robo don't know office. Robo really doesn't know office, because this is no office. But as always, if I miss something, and I will, because the toys are so hot and heavy these days, me being behind those 2 days will just add more to the next week. So we'll talk about it then. It's not a biggie. It's what we do. It's what the channel's about. Bye. Oh, wait, there was some technical difficulties, and hopefully it's not happening right now, because when I recorded the fast forward, there was a buzzing sound. And I tried to re-record over the worst of it, but it still seeped in parts. And I don't know why. Because I got that same thing in the review space, which is a completely different setup. Different microphones, different mixer, different camera. So to go from that one day, the buzzing sound, to in here, the same buzzing sound, the only thing that transfers between both is the memory card, which I've been using for quite a few years. So maybe that's worn down? I don't know electronics. But I bought a new memory card, and I'm not seeing anything on the monitor. But maybe it's so slight and light that I wouldn't see it. But if I hear it in there, I'm giving up. I quit. No. I'll keep digging. We'll figure it out. But bye.